It took a while.
Wow.
I'm seasoned now.
Yeah, you're pro now. You got it now.
I had to grow.
Yeah, but it's always a process. It's always a process. But the question is, what do you, my pastor sometimes calls it in the meantime. What do you do between where you start till you reach that victory? That in the meantime period is what's really important.
This is what I share in my book, what I was doing in the meantime. Wasn't always good things.
Right. We're going to get to some of those things too.
So I share how I went through the journey, how I went through the process, but in all of that, because of the foundation that was laid, a strong faith, and believing that it was all going to be okay, that's really what held me, really what kept me. And I had a praying mother.
That makes all the difference.
It made such a difference in my life. So many things helped me through the journey.
You know, a lot of things that you wanted to do as a child, you're doing today. I know in the book it said you always wanted to be a public speaker or a motivational speaker. You're doing that now.
I'm doing it now because I didn't want to be the one, because I had so many negative words and things poured into me. I didn't want to do that to anybody. It's cruel.
Right.
So if I can make a difference, that's the person I wanted to be.
It's really important. As I read your book and put myself in your shoes, the mental bullying, as I like to call it, I went through similar things in school. When you are doing well in school, when you're making good grades in school, when there's an assembly or program, you're getting recognized, most often you're called a nerd. And you're ridiculed all the time. So I went through similar situations, so I can actually agree with some of the struggles that you've had in your life. Let's transition just a little bit. We've talked about you as a good girl. Now listen, in chapter 7 of the book, that's why I say it's very important that you get this book. In chapter 7 of the book, we're introduced to Big Lou.
Big Lou.
Now listen, I just want to be Big Lou's friend. I want Big Lou to be in my corner. I don't want to meet Big Lou somewhere in the alley. Okay? Let me tell you about Big Lou. Big Lou skipped church. Big Lou went to house parties. Big Lou fought. Big Lou ran away from home. Big Lou smoked cigarettes. I don't know if they were Virginia Slims or Pall Malls or Newports. They were Cool Filter Kings, okay? Big Lou was a drinker. So tell us about Big Lou, that other side of you. And I know in the book you said that if you mess with you nowadays, that Big Lou sometimes may come out again. She ain't gone too far.
I try to keep her quiet.
Yeah, don't bring out today. Please don't.
But that was a defense mechanism, I realize now, because you have to find ways to protect yourself. And so having anger inside, you know, oftentimes it would come out.
Oh, yeah.
So this is how Big Lou came to be about. But one incident that happened when we were in school, one of my cousins got into a confrontation with a teacher. And see, before
that scared me when I read that.
Before I knew anything, okay, Big Lou was there.
I tell you.
And I stabbed that man. I could have been in jail. I stabbed the man with the pencil.
You could have been in jail.
But so quick, because it was the anger inside, what I was feeling, what he was doing, combination of so many things. But it was a defense mechanism. I'm trying to take care of her.
Right. But it was by the grace of God. They didn't, you know, put you in jail, but they moved you from that high school to, am I correct, to a different school?
To a different school.
To a different school. Now, did peer pressure have anything to do with that? About, you know, Big Lou coming out, being accepted? Did you feel that if I was a bad girl, then I would be accepted by?
See, we have labels for so many things nowadays. Peer pressure, we know what that is today. But back then, it was the same thing, but we didn't call it that. We were just concerned about fitting in anywhere. I was in a place where I didn't fit in with anybody.
Right.
So can you imagine that, not knowing where you're supposed to be? I was a good student, but I had an attitude. I was kind to everybody, but I didn't care about you. So many different things, so many emotions. And you have to find a way to get a handle on them, or they can take you to a place where you don't want to be.
Right. Because you felt you didn't fit in, did that mess with your self-esteem at all?
Yes, and today we call it low self-esteem.
Right.
And then even being in a bad attitude and just being sad, we call that depression. Okay, we labeled everything now, but it was just pitiful back then.
Back then it just was what it was.
That's what it was.
It's what it was back then. Listen, as we move forward in the book, let's talk about, now I love the title of this chapter. Chapter 9, y'all, is called He's So Fine. We talk about Joe Tony.
Okay.
That's when you fell in love.
I thought I was.
I thought you fell in love. Tell us about Joe.
Joe was he was an experience, let me say that. And I talk to young people about looking for love in all the wrong places. When you're not receiving love or what you think should be love, then you go elsewhere looking for it.
Right.
So all of the things that I learned at home about being associated with the opposite sex, I ignored. And when I met Joe Tony, he was inviting to me because I'm looking for somebody to care and listen and, you know, all of those
so
things.
He kind of filled
etc.
was it a void that he filled that was
Yes,
maybe
I believe
there,
so.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
But he was a good man, and he still is kind man.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so we look for love, kindness, care, all of those things, communication. We use those as substitutes when we already should be having that where we live. I had a good life, family, relatives all around, all up in the house. I wasn't lacking for communication, but a type of communication I was. So all of the things I wasn't getting at home, you know, I was getting from him.
So as a result of Joe Tony, Shaquille was born.
Yes.
Now, what advice would you give to teenage mothers today if you had to do it all over again? Is there something that you would have done differently?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, I would not ignore the lessons that I'm being taught as to why I should not. We are giving information today as to why we should not, why we should abstain from having sex. All of those reasons we were given back in 1970, but I ignored them. I would encourage young people today, listen and know. And make up your mind to make the right choice because you're given this information for a reason. You should not ignore anything positive that's given to you because there's a consequence for making the wrong choice.
But you know, sometimes in this day and age, there's a teenage mother who feels that her life is totally over. It may not be the norm, but some may feel their life is totally over once they've, you know, had a child and they're still in high school. But with you, it was a little bit different. You went out and got a job.
I accepted the responsibility of being a mother, even though I didn't have anybody to help me. But if you do not accept the responsibility, especially for your mistake, you don't have to live in the mistake, but you accept the responsibility knowing that, okay, that wasn't the right choice that you made. However, what are you going to do now?
Exactly.
Now is what's important. Forget that.
Right.
What are you going to do now?
Right. And I think oftentimes we have a pity party because of mistakes that we made, but a lot of times we can't go back and redo it.
You cannot.
So we need to deal with the situation as it is and move forward.
And you can have a pity party for the rest of your life. It's not going to help your situation now.
Right. Wow.
So good sense need to kick in.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But what I learned, and I learned this by going through some things, you have to come to the realization yourself first. You can hear all the good information. People can tell you so many things, but if you do not make an effort to hear what is being said to you and take what you hear and put it into action, you will never move.
But you had a good praying network, a good praying family that lifted you up in prayer, a good church-going family. How did that help you, or did that help you as you stayed focused on your goals and your dreams even after having Shaquille?
Well, we had what we call a village back then, and we look around today, the village has crumbled in some places, but I just believe that everybody has one somebody, even if it's not in your household. The program that we have here that we're supporting today, continuing schools.
Yeah, communities and schools, right.
Those people care about the young people. There's a network of people that care. So we will never lose that. But the village as we knew it back then has just crumbled a little bit. Right. So here I am. I'm letting the young people know that I care. Here you are. You're letting the young people know that you care.
Right.
It's still people that care and love you in spite of your circumstance.
Right, and it's really important for them to see that too, that someone has actually been in their footsteps, has actually gone through the same struggles that they've been through or going through now and have survived.
Yes.
So that's very important.
Yes, and we need to tell them that there is hope.
Right.
They need to hear it, and then we have to live that, lead by example, that there is hope.
Even, you know, my motto nowadays is even if I'm in the midst of a situation that's unpleasant for me, I just need to keep walking because eventually I'm going to walk out of it.
Yes.
So don't stop. Just keep walking.
You have to believe. We're human. We're going to make mistakes.
That's right. That's right. Wow.
But I tell my children, it's okay for you to make a mistake, but don't wallow in self-pity.
Right, of course.
Pick yourself up, and if you fall, hopefully you'll fall on your back so you can look up and get up.
What's going on in Macon? Listen, at Washington Park, every second Sunday there's brunch. You enjoy a picnic or a box lunch for only $5. This event is sponsored by the Loft at Mercer Village. Now don't forget Friday Fest. Every Friday night downtown Macon, Georgia. Live music, art exhibits, great food, opportunities to socialize, and beautiful downtown Macon. Hey, that's the buzz for this week. Now let's talk about you and your education. You decided it was time for you to do something. So you ended up going to Bethune-Cookman, am I correct?
Yes, but I want to say going to college was a dream that I had. You know, we grow up, we want to go to high school, we want to go to college, we want to grow up to be these citizens that make a contribution to the world. So, okay, that's a dream, but the dream had not yet manifested.
Yeah.
Shaquille was born right out of high school, and from high school being a wife, mother, with more children. So I never had the opportunity to do that. But when my children, all of them grown up, left home,
It was time.
I said, ooh, perhaps, you know, I can do this now.
Right.
And so the opportunity presented itself, and my oldest son, he was very instrumental in helping me go. He paid for my college tuition, which was a gift to me and a blessing. And I went back to school and was able to achieve one of those dreams. I wanted to be a college student. I wanted to learn, and I wanted to take everything I learned and apply it to my life. So it's been a blessing for me. I've been able to do that.
So having gone through so much, are you at peace now?
Oh, absolutely.
So
And it's priceless.
it's priceless.
Can't pay for peace.
That's right, that's right. So what's next on the horizon for Lucille O'Neal?
I would love to write another book, a children's book about being different and letting the young people know that God made us all special for a reason. And it doesn't matter if you're short or if you're tall. We all have a special gift inside of us, and we should share that gift with the rest of the world. And so it's in my heart to do that. I'm not saying that I'm going to do it tomorrow or next year, but that's a project that I would like to pursue.
Right.
And I want to continue speaking to audiences like I did today, because it's in my heart just to share what I've learned and what I know. And I just have a love for people. So if I can do just by being me, I'm going to continue to do that. And one of my dreams a long time ago was to be a motivational speaker. Didn't say anything about being paid, but that's good too.
Yeah, that's always good.
But you know, there's something good that comes out of saying something that will help somebody and motivate them and inspire them. And if we can do it by the way that we live, it's just extra special. So I want to continue to do that. I met so many people, so many good people, and learned a lot from other people too. So everything that I've learned, I'm willing to share, and I want to continue to grow as a person and continue to open myself up to receive everything that I need to continue to grow.
You know, I'm so excited that you agreed to come on the show today. I think the audience have gotten some really, really good information, and I certainly appreciate your story, your testimony, and we welcome you back on the show anytime you want.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yes.
Do you think after today, they'll stop calling me Shaq's mama?
Yeah, as you notice, I didn't call you Shaq's mama at all. I said Shaquille.
Well, I'm Shaq's mama, Latifah's mama, Aisha's mama,
That's right.
and Jamal's mama.
That's right. Maybe they will.
Okay.
Let's give her a hand. Come on. We'd like to thank you as well for joining us here on Perspectives. You've got to get Miss Lucille O'Neal's book. It's available in stores everywhere. You can also go to her website, lucilleo'neal.com. Visit perspectivestv.com as well. We'll see you next week. You've been watching Perspectives, where you're not only informed, but inspired. Have a wonderful evening.